You're listening to the Wedding Procast UK, the place to be if you are a UK wedding professional looking to grow and streamline your business. I'm your host, Donna Eade, 10-year wedding photography veteran and CEO at the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors. If you want to grow and streamline your business, this is the podcast for you. Make sure you hit subscribe where you listen or join our email list at www.spwv.co.uk. You'll find the sign up form at the bottom of every episode, and by doing so, you won't miss a thing. So let's jump into today's show. Before we jump into today's episode, I have a brand new quiz available. I would love you to go over and take it. It is at spwv.co.uk/quiz. And this quiz is going to help you identify where you are on your client attraction journey. One of the biggest questions I get, and one of the things that vendors find the most difficult, is how do I get more clients? How do I attract more clients to me? How do I get them booked? This quiz is going to take you through just four questions that are going to help you to understand where you are on your client attraction journey and what to do next. So go ahead, take the quiz. It'll take you less than a minute. It is at spwv.co.uk/quiz. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I hope you are well. So this week we are going to be looking at marketing in 2022. So hopefully a lot of you will have your marketing plan somewhat set out for 2022 already. We are getting really close now. In fact, this is my penultimate episode before the Christmas break. I do take 2 weeks off the show over Christmas period, so that is exciting to me. I do like having a proper break. And I know most people that do podcasts batch for those periods where they want to take holiday, and I do normally do that for regular holidays, but I think Christmas I don't want to be like putting more work on my plate before Christmas so I can take time off over Christmas. You know what I mean? It's like when you work for yourself, isn't that the truth? Like, a holiday is never really a holiday. It's where you've pushed as much work as you can into the week before your holiday, and then you've got to play catch up the week you come back. So is it really a holiday because you had to work twice as hard on the 2 weeks either side? I don't know. So I do take the opportunity to completely shut off over Christmas, because I believe that we are all with our families and should be with our families and not necessarily listening to business podcasts. So I give you that break, I give me that break, and I hope that we both take full advantage of it and enjoy time with our family over the festive period. But today we are going to be talking about online. We are going to be looking at marketing for 2022. We're going to be looking at our social media. We are going to talk about being in person. We're going to talk about email, and we're going to talk about third-party endorsements. So let's jump straight in. Social media. It is something we talk about a lot on this channel. I have been told that I am extremely consistent with my social media. So when you are looking at your social media, what platforms have you used in 2021 to grow your social following? And has it worked for you? Were you consistent on that platform? So we need to take a look at all of those before we can look at what we want to do in 2022. Now, if you have tried to be in all of the places this year, you may well feel a lot of overwhelm, especially when the weddings picked back up in the summer, of trying to keep on top of that. I would say that it's just not necessary to stress yourself about being everywhere and being all things to all people. You need to really look at where your couples are and what they're looking for when they're there. So, for example, if they're on TikTok, are they looking for their wedding vendors? I would hazard a guess that they're not looking for their wedding vendors on TikTok. They're looking to be entertained. If they are on YouTube, are they looking for their wedding vendors? Again, not necessarily looking for their wedding vendors, maybe looking for advice, maybe looking at how to do this, how to do that, but not necessarily looking to book their wedding vendors. But Instagram, now that is somewhere where they can put in a hashtag, wedding venues, and things will come up. They can put in bridal stylist and pictures from bridal stylists will come up, and they can search through the catalogue a lot easier on there. They're not doing those kind of searches on TikTok or YouTube. So you need to look at what they're looking for when they're there and decide what it is that you want to do. We have spoken on this podcast before about having weekly content, whether that is a blog, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a YouTube channel. Have you got that piece of weekly content? Are you happy with that piece of weekly content? Are you going to start a YouTube channel? If you're going to start a YouTube channel, what are you going to talk about on there? And it's got to be something that your couples are going to be interested in learning from you. And then once they have that as their in with you, then they might consider booking you from there. But they're not necessarily searching for their vendors on YouTube. So you have to sort of look at it as like a primary social media and a secondary social media. And I don't really think you need much more than that. Do you want to be on TikTok? Then you can be on TikTok. You can do TikToks. They can be entertaining, they can be fun, they can be related to what it is that you do in the wedding industry. And it can be a feeder that if people like you and find you funny and find you entertaining, then they might then look at who you are as a vendor. But I would say that it's not necessarily the place they're going to look for their vendors. So take a look at everything you've done this year. What's worked, what hasn't, what are you going to drop, because you are allowed to drop things. You do not have to be on all the platforms. Like, I've really not been that active on Twitter for the last sort of probably 6 months or so, because I wasn't really seeing much traction from Twitter myself. I do tend to focus more on Instagram, but that's my personal look at where I think wedding vendors are going to be, so that I can talk to them about the society. So I do tend to focus on Instagram, but I've also got a Facebook page, and what I put on Instagram goes on my Facebook page. So you don't have to necessarily double your work. As long as you're checking in with that social media, you can put the same thing up on all your social medias. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Not everybody sees your stuff. There is so much out there that they are not going to be going on there going, oh my God, this woman is banging on about the same thing. This man is banging on about the same thing all the time. They're not going to be doing it. So I tend to just put the same thing on both my social media platforms pretty much at the same time, so that I can reach both platforms with something. But my focus is mainly Instagram. Obviously, my podcast is my weekly content, and I put that out on YouTube now as well. So that is my secondary platform, YouTube, and then my website. And it should be your website too, that whatever you're putting on YouTube or a blog site should go onto your website as well to drive traffic to that. So definitely look at what you might want to add, what you might want to change, and how you are going to use social media in 2022. Do you need to post every single day? No, you do not. You don't have to post every single day. I did see something from later that said that based on the amount of followers you have, this is how many times you should be posting a week. And I think for like 1,000, 5,000 or something, it was like 14 to 20 times a week. I don't think it's necessary. It depends on what the purpose of your Instagram is for. Is it to gain customers, or is it to grow a following? I think if you're trying to grow a following, then perhaps that 14 to 20 is important. If you are trying to gain customers, then it's more about the quality of the people that you're bringing to your page, and you don't have to be posting constantly to get that interaction. I post once a day, sometimes twice a day. That is my personal choice. You have to do what's comfortable for you. And so I would rather you did something that you could commit to. Say that you were going to post 3 times a week, and those were really good quality posts, and then maybe you're in your stories the rest of the week. Keep sharing your posts into your stories as well, because then you can get more eyes onto that post. But be consistent with what you're putting out. It is no good going, okay, I'm going to post every single day, doing that for a month, and then falling off the wagon with your scheduling and then disappearing for 3 weeks, because it's all about those algorithms. And although we don't understand them, if you disappear for 3 weeks, as far as the algorithm's concerned, you don't exist on social media anymore, because they get so much coming through. So you just need to be keeping that algorithm ticking over. So make sure that whatever you commit to in 2022, you can be consistent with it. Next, we are going to be looking at live in-person stuff. So we may have gone back to wearing masks, but we're still allowed out at the moment. So how are you going to get yourself in front of your clients? Are you going to be doing wedding fairs? Are you going to be doing open days? Are you going to be doing craft fairs? You may think craft fairs aren't any good for me to go to. It depends on what you're doing. If you're a stylist, if you do invitations, if you're a planner that has a good hand in doing styling things, if you're a florist, these things might actually be a good place for you to go, especially around this time of year. For example, a florist may well do wreath making sessions and make up wreaths and go to a craft fair and sell their wreaths. But with that, you can also give a leaflet that shows all your bridal work, and then you are able to drop that seed. It's all about planting little seeds. So if you can give them that, and they can go, oh, you do wedding flowers as well. Awesome. My friend's getting married, and they pass it on to their friend. So don't think that just because it is not a specific event for couples getting married, that you are not going to be able to reach your target audience. It's not guaranteed, but you're planting seeds, you're getting your name out there, you're getting that brand awareness. And if you are doing something like floristry, where you are able to actually make some money at these kind of fairs with selling things like wreaths, then you're benefiting from it straight away as well. So don't just dismiss them because they're not wedding based events, but equally don't forget to take your wedding stuff with you. So you maybe, as a florist, you have a brochure that includes your wedding things that you can give to people. Maybe you have specific things for weddings and you would give that to them. Just make sure that they are aware that you also do weddings when you are at these places, so that they might know somebody who might be able to use your services. So where would these things happen? So you need to do some research, find out where the wedding fairs are taking place, where the open days are taking place, where craft fairs are taking place, and who do you need to talk to about getting booked into those things? So it is notoriously hard to get into wedding fairs at hotels. Maybe you want to look at setting up your own wedding fair. Maybe there is a local hall that you can use, and you can bring vendors in your locality together and create your own wedding fair that's not necessarily at a wedding venue, but is going to give you and your friends that may be struggling to get into places for wedding fairs, you create your own. When would these things take place? So you need to look at your calendar for next year. What weddings have you got where have you got space that you would be able to do these events, and try and see when would they happen. um, Look at your calendar. Where in your calendar have you got weddings put in? Where is there some space that you could fit these events in, and see what events are taking place within that time so that you can get booked into those and fill your calendar. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is email. Email is a big one for me. I don't even think that I've actually necessarily done a podcast on email, which I might well do in the new year, because I talk about it a lot, and every time I talk about it I go, oh, I should link back to that episode that I did where I spoke about this, and I can't find it in my titles, so I don't think I've ever done one specifically on email. Maybe you can correct me, but I don't think I have done one that is specifically on email, so I might well do that in the new year and talk about it in more detail. But basically, when we are looking at our marketing plan for 2022, email is an important component of that. So do you have an email system in place ready for when somebody sends you an email? I've spoken about it before. Don't know on what episode, but I've spoken about it before. Having automated emails set up so that when you get an email, that person gets an instant reply, instantaneous. One of the biggest bugbears couples came to me with was vendors not getting back to them in a good amount of time. And by good amount of time, I'm not saying that they wanted an answer the same day. I'm saying they wanted an answer within sort of 24 to 48 hours, and they'd waited a week and heard nothing, and chased up and heard nothing. So I heard one of our lovely colleagues from across the pond, Kate Story, who was on the podcast a few weeks ago. She turned around and said in this clip that I heard from her podcast this week that, you think that your clients are ghosting you. Well, I hate to tell you this, you're actually ghosting them. So a lot of the times we feel like we're bombarding people. But what you've got to remember with a couple planning a wedding day is that, one, they've likely never done this before. Two, they are trying to book and secure 15 to 20 different vendors for different things, all while trying to do their full-time jobs. This is our full-time job. It is not theirs. So they haven't necessarily got the ability to be sending emails back and forth during the day. They may have to wait until after work. They may not check their personal emails for a few days because, they're in emails all day at work. So you have to give them a little bit of grace, but you also have to make sure you're following up. If you send an email, I know on Gmail you can set it, there's boomerang, and you can set it to actually come back into your inbox 3 days later to remind you to follow up with that person. Follow up with them. Say, hey, I know you're likely to be very busy. I sent you this email 3 days ago. I just didn't want you to think that I'd forgotten about you. If I can help in any way, whatever it is, just make sure you are making those connections. So back to the initial email. If you set up your out of office, your automated email, to go straight back to them and say, hey, we have received your email. We are going to deal with it within the next 24 to 48 hours. These are our working hours. We will reply within those times. Whilst you are waiting, here is some information for you. And you can put your brochure in there. You can put some information about how you work in there, just so they've got something to be going on with it. It doesn't have to include your price list. It can be your brochure without your price list. Definitely turn around and say, if you haven't got it on your website, my average client spends around this with me. I look forward to connecting with you. And put that in your email, and then follow up with them in a few days' time. Hey, thanks for your email. This is how I can help you. I am free on that date. Let me know When would be great for like a 15-minute chat, just so I can really understand what it is that you're wanting from your XYZ. And I'd love to be able to give you a quote. Something like that. So make sure that you have that system set up. Definitely have it set up for that January the 1st. We're going into engagement season. You being able to send that initial email and then follow up with them in good time is going to put you head and shoulders above the competition. So what happens when somebody signs up to your email list? Have you got an email list? Have you got something on your website people can download, or something that you post out, a freebie that you get their email for that transaction? Do you have people sign up to your email list at wedding fairs to enter competitions? If you do and you have got an email list, when was the last time you updated it? People get married. We have a finite amount of time with our couples. It is not a case of you're on my email list and in 3 years' time you might buy from me. It doesn't work like that in the wedding industry. We have a much quicker turnover. If somebody has been on your email list for over 18 months, it is likely that they are married. Likely, not 100%, but likely that they are married. If they have been on your list for over 4 months, it is likely that they have already booked their whatever your trade is. It is likely, not guaranteed. So at these kind of points, you want to be looking at sending an email and checking in with them, following up. You don't want people on your list that have got no intention of buying anything from you. Now, maybe you have 2 email lists. Maybe you are a photographer that does family photography and weddings. So you may want to see if you can transfer them. If they have stayed on your list and they are past the point of when they've got married, maybe they're actually enjoying your stuff. If they're opening your emails, if they're not opening your emails, they don't need to be on your email list. But if they are opening your emails, you could send a email using something like MailChimp. I know in MailChimp, you can send an email to anybody who has opened an email in the last 5 campaigns. And there is probably somewhere in there, and I haven't checked, where you can do it so that if they are older, they've been on your list for a certain amount of time. If you can do that, then anybody who's been on my list for longer than a year and has opened any of my last 5 campaigns, and you can send them an email and say, hey, just wanted to check in. You've been on my list for a while. I'm thinking that you might possibly be married by now and not need my wedding services, but I am also a portrait photographer. If you would like to go on my family portrait email list to find out about deals and services within the family photography range, click this button below. If you don't click the button and don't want to hear from me, you can unsubscribe using this button. Give them a button to click, and if I don't hear anything from you, I will remove you from my email list in the next 7 days. And clean your email list, because you don't want to be messaging people that are never going to buy from you. There is no point. And you get to a certain level in these mail systems and they will start charging you for more people that you've got on your list. So I think with MailChimp, it's 0 to 500 is free, 500 to 2,000 is something, and then upwards. And I forget how they break it up. But the price increases the more people you've got on your list. So the cleaner you can keep your list, the better. If it's sort of 4 months down the road, send them an email and say, hey, you've been on my list for a while now. Just wanted to check to see if you have actually booked your XYZ. If you click this button to let me know if you have booked somebody, and click this button if you'd like to unsubscribe from my list. So if they've already booked somebody but they don't want to unsubscribe, then you can give them a tag that says booked. And then at some point, in that year's time, hey, you're still on my list. I know that you've got to be married by now. Do you want to stay on my list? And you can transfer them, or you can say, look, because you no longer need my services, I'm going to remove you from my list because I don't want to be bombarding your inbox, and just delete them from your list and keep it nice and clean. So do you have an email signature set up in your regular email inbox? And do you have one set up in your MailChimp? And are they the same or are they different? Do you have a photograph in that signature? I have one in mine. When was the last time you updated it? So take a look at that email signature. It's a really good place to put a link to your website. It's a really good place to tell people of offers that you've got. It's a really good place to let people know when you're going on holiday. So if you've got a holiday coming up, you can put it in there just so you know, I'm going on holiday between these dates and will be unavailable, so that you're pre-warning them in that signature. It is a great place to put your endorsements, which we will come on to in a second. So make sure that you take a look at that email signature, and I would say try and make it the same on both your email service provider and your MailChimp, Infusionsoft, whichever software it is that you use to send out bulk emails. So then we move on to our third-party endorsements and how that helps us with our marketing. So did you win any awards in 2021? These are great marketing tools. They are a great third-party endorsement. I have my own feelings about the way certain awards are judged and distributed, but to Joe Public, an award means you're good at something. So if you have an award, however it was, whether it was voted for, whether it was judged, whether it was a combination of the two, that is something that you have earned. People have loved your work enough to vote for you. People have looked at your work and scrutinized it and said that it is worthy of acknowledgement. So share those. These should be in your email signature that you won awards. If you didn't win any, did you actually enter any? Because they are good to enter. It is good publicity to win an award. Once you have won the award, you could, well, even throughout the process, and I will link to the episode that I did with Debbie Gilbert about awards, so you can see why awards are so important. But you can literally, if you're shortlisted, you can put a press release out that says that you've been shortlisted for an award. If you are a finalist, you can say that you've become a finalist in the award. That's another press release. If you win, that's another press release. If you're a runner-up, it's a press release. You have stories around that you can then use to create publicity for yourself. So they are definitely something that you want to look at entering. So take a look. There is a link in the episode I did with Debbie that shows you where the awards are. So enter industry awards, but also enter business awards, enter your trade awards. So you have 3 opportunities in the wedding industry. There are wedding industry awards that you can enter. Then there are business awards that you can enter. If you are a female, there are female business awards that you can enter. And if you are in a trade that does awards, so I'm sure the florist industry has awards that they do. I know the photography industry has awards that you have got the opportunity to apply to 3 different types of awards that are going to recognise 3 different things in your business. So we have so much opportunity to do that. And it is a great piece of publicity, and it is a great third-party endorsement to have. So definitely take a look at what awards you're looking to enter this year and how that might help your business. What blogs and magazines would you like to feature in this year? There are a lot of wedding blogs, there are a lot of wedding magazines. To be featured in those is a great third-party endorsement to say that you are good enough to be featured on a prestigious blog or a national magazine. is a fantastic third-party endorsement, and you can put that on your website. A lot of websites, I know with mine, there is actually, with my theme, I am able to kind of drag in a section that I could put a banner up and put different logos in it for magazines, awards, associations and things like that you can put on there, so that it just appears on that front page. But then you could also have a endorsements page on your website that could coincide with your testimonials. So even when you've got your customers saying that you're fantastic, then have your media logos and have your third party endorsements, your awards and your association logos there as well. Have it in your about page. Don't just put it on your website once, because some people come to one page on your website and then disappear off. So if they don't go to your homepage, they're not going to see those. If they only go to your about page and they're not on there, they're not going to see them. If they only go to your portfolio, they're not going to see it. So if you can have a banner at the bottom that kind of has all the logos, then that's brilliant. If you can at least have it in 2 or 3 places across your website, if you can't have it across all pages, that's good too. And make sure that those badges link to somewhere, so that people can find out more about who is behind that company. So as part of the Society of Professional Wedding Vendors, we tell our members to link their membership badge back to their listing on our website, so that people can see that they are current members. And we also tell them to have our code approved badge on there, and have that code approved badge link back to our code of practice, code of conduct on our website. And then that shows people what they are actually agreeing to abide by as a member. And that way the couples looking can verify these locations and who's behind these badges. So if you have won an award, then link that badge back to that awards website. Now they may have somewhere that they specifically ask you to link to. Maybe there is a list of winners on their website, and you can link back to that page so people can see your name on their website as a winner, so that they can see that it is all truthful. You know, that's what it's about. It's about being open, honest and transparent with your clients, and then being able to verify what you're saying, because anybody can go and copy badges off of anywhere. And let's face it, the likes of the directories and the wedding industry awards companies aren't necessarily able to go searching for who's got their logo on their website that shouldn't have their logo on their website. So if you link it back, your couples are able to verify that you are being truthful with your third party endorsements. So for us in the society, we obviously recommend being part of the society, so you can go and check us out at our website spwv.co.uk. But if you are part of a society or association, how is that working for you? What is that doing for you? Are they working with you? Are they connecting regularly with you? Are you getting what they said you would get, and are you getting value for money? So for the SPWV, we don't have a membership cost on top of a monthly rate. You can either pay annually or monthly. So we have the opportunity to network with other members. We have an open network. We have an open workroom once a month. We have networking events. We have that ability for you to get together and communicate in the Facebook group, but we don't charge like a networking event. We also have our directory listing. We're not like regular directories where they will charge you for a premium listing and then possibly charge you to deliver leads to you. We don't provide leads because we're not at that stage yet, and we wouldn't charge for leads either. But we also don't just charge for the listing. What we are also doing is promoting you actively on our social medias. So we will go and share about you on a regular basis on our social medias, and we will also go into your account and see what you're saying and share what you're putting up. So there is a organic promotion of you as well as the directory listing. So, we don't charge any more than a lot of those directories do. So, oftentimes things like these can be our sort of Netflix of our business. They're little amounts, or not as little as Netflix, but little amounts that go out every month, and we are just sort of blindly paying it, and we're not paying attention to what we're getting back out of it. So I would say definitely look at the associations you're part of, and are they delivering on what they promised. Check out the society. We are open to new members at the moment. Our costs start at £27 for the starter membership, and then £37 for the full membership. So there's 2 different levels, and you can pay an annual price and save 2 months. So it's either annual or monthly. You don't have to pay both. So today we have taken a look at what we are going to do on our marketing in 2022. Looking at our social media, our in-person connections, our email marketing, and our endorsement marketing. So I hope that has helped spark some ideas for you, and some thoughts as we head into this final stretch of 2021. 2022 is knocking on the door. Next week is actually going to be our last episode of 2021. So join me for that. We are going to be talking about guilt in that one for sure. Like I said in last week's podcast, there is definitely some guilt talk coming in there. So yeah, join me for that one next week, and I will see you there. Bye for now.